All right, now let's see how we can map this object that we get from the server, which is a complete representation of vehicle, to a save vehicle resource object. So the simplest way is like this. I'm gonna set ID like that, duplicate, then make ID, which is gonna be set from make.id. One more time, model ID. But this looks a little bit ugly and it's causing a bit of noise in this method. The first thing I wanna do is to extract this into a separate private method. So here in this class, I'm gonna declare a private method, call it set vehicle. It gets v as a parameter. And then I'm gonna move all this code inside this new method. Now we don't have to repeat data of 2 a million times. That's better. And here back in our subscription, we simply call this.setVehicle and give it data of 2. That's better. Now the other issue we have here is the lack of IntelliSense. So dot, there's nothing here. Or v, there's nothing here. Now that we're working with these objects directly, it's nice to have IntelliSense and also compile time checking. So here in the app folder, I've created this new folder, models. Let's add a new model here. Vehicle. Now for this demo, I'm gonna add all the models in one file, but ideally in a real world application, you wanna separate them into different files so you can easily find them. So here I'm gonna export an interface, call it vehicle. And this is like our vehicle resource on the server. So here we have a property called ID. It's a number. We have model, which is an object with 2 properties, ID, which is a number, and name, which is a string. We also have make, very similar. Now, I don't like this duplication here. So I would rather to declare another interface here, call it key value pair, just like what we have on the server, and add ID and name here. And with this, we can simplify this declaration. So model is a key value pair, and the same goes for the make property. We have is registered, which is Boolean. We have features, which is key value pair, array, and contact. Again, I would like to declare a separate interface, contact. So we have name, phone, and email. And here the type of contact property is contact. We also have this last update, which is coming as a string from the server. Now I'm going to select this, duplicate it, and this interface is going to be called save vehicle. Now here we have model ID, which is number, make ID, which is number, features is a number array, contact is the same, and we don't have the last update property. Beautiful. Now once again, you want to put each of these interfaces in a separate file. So back in our component, I'm going to change the type of this vehicle to save vehicle. Now here we have a compilation error. Property ID is missing. So all these properties are required, and I'm going to add them here. Make ID, we set them to default value. Is registered, going to be false. And finally, contact should have name, email, and phone. Now in a lot of applications, you need somewhere to define default values for the properties of your objects. And this is where we can do this. So now we have this vehicle object properly typed. We could apply the same typing and these other properties, but for the moment, it doesn't add much value. Now back in our mapping function, this parameter is of type vehicle. Let's import the namespace. Looks like auto import didn't work properly. So on the top, I'm going to import this vehicle interface. Now back here, let's map the other properties. So this dot vehicle dot, look, we have this beautiful IntelliSense is registered. We set it to v that is registered. Next one is contact. And the last one is features. Now this one is a little bit tricky because in our source object, we have key value pairs. So each feature has ID and name, But in our target object, we only want the numbers. The easiest way to do this mapping is using underscore. So let's install underscore. I'm also going to install types/underscore. So this brings in the type definitions for TypeScript. Next, we go to webpack.config.vendor and add underscore here. Save. And then in the terminal, we stop the .NET process and run webpack. And finally, .NET watch run. Now back in our component, on the top, I'm going to import star as underscore from the underscore module. And then back in our mapping function, we can type underscore dot pluck. We give it the source object, which is v.features, and specify the name of the property we want to pluck, which is ID. Now back in the browser, we can see our vehicle object is now in the right shape, the shape that this form expects. And you can see that make is selected in the drop-down list, but model is not selected. We don't have the vehicle registration, and features are not selected either. So we're going to fix that in the next lecture.